Death is a concept that's hard to grasp. You can't remember what it was like before you were born. For billions of years, you didn't exist. You had no thoughts, no feelings, and no experiences. This fact should be comforting, but it often isn't. Many people fear death deeply. This fear shapes how they think, feel, and act. It comes from not knowing what happens after we die. We struggle to imagine not existing. Our whole lives revolve around being alive. From birth, we're on a path that leads to death. This can be overwhelming and cast a shadow over everything. The idea of nothingness is hard for our minds to understand. We're always thinking, feeling, and interacting with the world. The thought that all this will end is scary. This fear is always there, even if we don't realize it. It affects our choices and actions, but it's also something that connects us all. No matter our differences, we all face the same end. Every day, we carry the knowledge that we'll die someday. This affects everything we do. It influences our choices and the risks we take. Often we try to avoid death or live longer. Our bodies are temporary. We have them for a short time. This knowledge can be both frightening and motivating. It pushes us to make the most of the time we have. Life and death form an intricate cycle that connects all living beings. At some point, we must return to our source. This might seem unsettling, but it's a natural process. We emerge from nothingness and eventually return to it. Consider your journey through existence. You enter this world from an incomprehensible state of non-being. Throughout life, you build experiences, relationships, and memories. All the while, you know you'll return to that same nothingness. This rhythm of life and death has repeated countless times in the universe's history. Our consciousness clings to permanence, but impermanence is existence's true nature. Before birth, we experienced non-being for billions of years. This timeless void is part of us. It's a place where we existed without consciousness or physical form. It's the same state we'll return to after death. If you believe in an eternal soul, it logically existed before your body and will continue after. This continuity suggests that fearing death might be misplaced. You've already experienced non-existence. It wasn't painful or frightening. It was simply a state of being beyond recall or comprehension. The thought of non-existence can be daunting. But remember, you've already traversed this state for billions of years. You existed in a form beyond human understanding. This form predated your consciousness and physical presence. This past experience of non-existence should reassure you about the future. Death isn't a leap into the unknown, it's a return to the familiar. Death is a state free from worries, fears, and pains of conscious life. It can be seen as a return to peaceful, undisturbed existence. The idea of being dead before can be comforting. It means death isn't an unknown terror, but a familiar state. This nothingness, while beyond understanding, isn't something to fear. It's a state that doesn't require consciousness. To your current self, it feels like nothing. This nothingness isn't an absence, but a different mode of being. It doesn't involve self-awareness or emotions associated with life. In many ways, this nothingness is a natural state. It's the state of the universe before you existed and where you'll return. This cycle of existence and non-existence is fundamental to the universe. Like changing seasons and tides, your life follows a natural progression. You move from birth to death, returning to the source from which you emerged. Coming to terms with mortality is challenging. It requires facing the reality of finite existence and the inevitability of your end. However, this confrontation is necessary for a full appreciation of life. By acknowledging mortality, you can intensify your experience of living. This idea is echoed by many, including Robert Greene. He suggests that awareness of death enriches life, making each moment more precious. Confronting mortality involves deep, honest reflection on life and death. It's a journey requiring courage and vulnerability. You must face your deepest fears and insecurities. Through this confrontation, you can gain greater perspective. The realization that our time is finite encourages us to live more fully. It pushes us to embrace the world's beauty and wonder. We're driven to cherish relationships, pursue passions, and find meaning in our experiences. This awareness of mortality becomes a powerful motivator for a richer life. Ignoring death doesn't make it less present. Fear of death can manifest as anxiety, stress, and unease. By not addressing this fear, We allow it to control our actions and decisions. Accepting death as part of life helps us see it as a transition, not an end. This perspective shift lets us appreciate life's fleeting nature and make the most of our time. Death's inevitability shouldn't cause despair, but motivate us to live fully. Our human experience is defined by its impermanence, giving life its value. Like a vacation that must end, life is precious because it's limited. If a vacation were endless, it would lose its charm. Similarly, life's finite nature makes each moment special and worth savoring. We're fortunate to experience life. The fear of losing this shouldn't overshadow the joy of living. We should strive to overcome this fear and embrace life openly. What we should fear is not death, but not truly living while we're alive. Appreciating both life and death allows us to find peace and fulfillment in our existence. Live fully, unburdened by fear of death. Instead, be motivated by the gift of life. Embrace each day with purpose and happiness. What did you learn from this? What would you add? Your thoughts are welcome. Have a wonderful day ahead.